Everyone hits a bump in the road. What do you do with it? Be inspired as we explore the ways people experience, navigate, and manage the ups and downs and twists and turns in this road trip called life. Welcome to Bump in the Road. If you would, I'd like to talk a little bit about how COVID-19 has impacted your business. Janice, why don't you go first?
Alrighty. I'm Janice Argabright, and I own the Owl Bar and Cafe in San Antonio, New Mexico. I'm actually the fourth generation to operate the bar. My great-grandfather started that, and my grandfather, my mom, I took over 2 years ago from my mom and dad, and it's been a interesting 2 years. This year especially, with the closing of the restaurants and the takeout only has really impacted the Owl. I feel sorry for these newer restaurants that are just getting started, because even though the Owl is an icon, very well known all over the United States and New Mexico, it's just been really, really rough.
Well, you're not exactly at a high traffic location. I mean, the Owl's located. The Owl is something that everybody in New Mexico knows about. It really is a classic, but it's a little bit out of the way.
Well, it's actually off of I-25 and 380, US 380. So we do get a lot of traffic. From New Mexico and from tourists. But without being able to serve them inside the restaurant, it has been really, really rough, especially before we had the patio dining. I would go outside and deliver, their chili cheeseburgers and fries, and see these really nice, beautiful cars and these people eating, their juicy hamburgers in the car. It was like sad, very, very sad. So I even before the dine or the patio dining, I started putting some picnic tables outside under the trees and kind of made my own patio before she was allowing patio dining. Because people were always asking, do you have a picnic table or a park or whatever? So I made my own little park out there, which cost a lot of money. So I was in the hole even more, but people were, enjoying themselves. Then our governor let us have the patio dining. So I applied for a liquor permit to serve liquor outside, and what really saved us too, or has saved us a little bit, is we own one of the first liquor licenses in the state, which is very, very old. So it's a package liquor and a dispenser. So we were able to sell packaged liquor during this time. But then now I got the permit, so the people can go, enjoy their margaritas outside or mixed drinks or beer, wine, but it's still not making a difference. I still don't have that many customers. It's still, and even if we would open up to 50%, I still wouldn't be making. I think it's going to take a long, long time to recover. And I hate to see my numbers, and I'm probably going to start crying now because every month, I take my books in and wait for the bookkeeper to do his thing, and in the hole. So it's really sad. Very, very sad.
Wayne, tell us a little bit about your operation.
I oversee operations for Lescombes Winery and Bistro, and we had a location in Farmington that we closed down in late March. We closed that down permanently. We have a wine bar called Hervé up in Santa Fe, and then Lescombes in Albuquerque and Cruces, and then a tasting room in Demi. And we're getting ready to start a bistro in Alamogordo. So that's the operation that I oversee. And our company is founded in 1983 by some sixth generation French winemakers. So they have 240 acres down by the winery. We grow all our own grapes, we process them. And the bistros were originally opened just to pair food with the wine so that customers could, really understand what the wine was all about. But yeah, I would say since COVID has hit, like I said, we closed down Farmington. We've now closed down Hervé, opened it back up, and we're serving. And then they went, that was only like a week or so, and then we went to patio only, which we have a really nice patio outside. And we were serving a week and a half ago. It was on a Friday, and they came in at 3 o'clock and shut us down and said that our patio wasn't COVID approved. And
What is COVID approved?
well, I think the technical side is you have to have 3 open walls, right? And we have that, but one is it goes through where our wine bar is at. There's a space, and the center of it you cut through to go to each side either of the plaza. And they're saying that we have we're missing a third wall, but there's no roof over it. It's wide open on both sides. So, on one hand, the state shut us down. The city came in, their inspectors came in last week and said, I don't know why you're shut down. Like, we would have approved this, you know?
So where does it stand now?
We're laid off all our employees, and I have the general manager. I'm just paying her to sell retail out of the wine bar there, but that accounts for about 10 to 15% of what we were doing. So we're down about 80, 85% up there.
Wow, that's just breathtaking and not in a good way. What do you think? What's been the most difficult part of this for each of you?
For me, is having to lay off the employees. That just broke my heart to tell them, well, I have to cut your hours, since we're just takeout only. So I kept my my 3 cooks and myself for that first time that we got shut down for just takeout. And I gave up my salary so that I could be able to afford the cook salary. And they went from like 80 plus hours per pay period to like 60. So they weren't even full time, but they stuck with me. I have to thank them so much. We were all three, there would be 3 of us at a time working, and I would work the cash register and take orders. They would cook and do the dishes, and then we would mop up at night. And, it was awful. Out of the 14, 15 employees I had, I kept 3. So that impacted like 45 family members. And San Antonio's a little tiny town, about 500 people or so. And most of my employees are from here. So it was just devastating, And then the second time when we got to reopen, I brought back a few of the servers. And then we got closed down again. And I couldn't even look them in the eye to tell them, I'm sorry, but, here we go again. I can't afford you guys. I can't afford to keep open. And so that to me, that was the hardest thing to
And
do.
the closures were a result of a mandate by the government, not by any malfeasance by you.
Oh, no, just the public
Yeah,
health. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Wayne, what's been most difficult for you?
Well, obviously Janice hit it. It's our staff. I had about close to 200 employees, and so we cut that. down to 10, and we started hiring back for we hired for Hervé back and then laid everyone off but one. So we laid off 20 people on the second round. And we still have about, I'd say, 20% of our staff at the other locations that we have not been able to hire back yet. So the people is what touches you the most. And I would say our employees first, but I'd also tell you, um, you just don't know how good your guests are, your customers are, until you go through something like this. To have, a little old lady in her late 80s who eats with you twice a week at the exact same time on Wednesdays and Fridays, and you tell her you're not coming in, and she goes, "Well, where am I supposed to go? Like, where do you want me to go?" Like, so that makes it tough. The vendors, you establish relationships with vendors, and a lot of my I call friends have been laid off. I have a friend that's been in worked for a certain vendor for 30 years, and it was a senior member of management and was laid off, not to be rehired. So those are hard. I think leaders and businesses pride themselves on, if you do things right and you work your butt off, you have an opportunity to be successful. And I think when you do all that times 10, and you're at the behest of decisions that have nothing to do with you or nothing you can even put your finger on, I know that's what causes stress for me.
Where do you think the restaurant business is going in New Mexico in general?
Down.
Will it recover?
Not to where we
I think
were.
it's going to take a long, long time, I think.
Pat, I felt that restaurants were heading for, it was kind of like the housing bust of '08.
Mhm.
If you notice, there's a restaurant on every corner and sometimes three. Half of them have no clue what they're doing. And I think the people that aren't in it and don't love it and don't want to do it, and it hasn't been in their family, or they give a lot of other people bad names, right? And I think we were headed for that bust. But where we're at now, I'm just praying that people don't lose their affection for going out and dining and sharing a cocktail, celebrating life. That is what we're missing, and I'm hoping that what we're telling people isn't, "Hey, just stay at home, don't worry about it." But it could be a paradigm shift. That's something I'm very, very concerned about, because we don't operate the kind of restaurants that I'm real tickled about to be a drive-through. That's just not us. And I think there's a real danger.
Mhm.
The, y No, I hear you loud and clear. I know here in Santa Fe, where I'm based, there are a lot of restaurants, a lot of very expensive restaurants because it's such a tourist mecca, and now we have no tourists, and, I don't know how restaurants with very expensive leases, expensive overhead, I can't even imagine how they're trying to make it.
Well, most restaurants are not able to save for a rainy day, especially a rainy 6, 7 months. I think that the operating capital of most restaurants is something that I think a lot of people who aren't in them, they don't understand. I mean, most restaurants, their bottom line is about 3 to 5% of sales. So when you add that up, that's under normal operating conditions. And I can't speak for everyone, but we were lucky to have a patio, right? But I probably spent upwards of $25,000 getting the patios ready. We had to add misters, we had to add evaporative coolers. We had to buy all the PPE, right, for all our employees. There's a lot of expenses that go in. I mean, you're paying hundreds of dollars to get a little temperature gun
Yeah.
because you can't find them anywhere, right? Um, it puts us at a real disadvantage that literally that 3 to 5% that you are making, and that's if you have good sales volume. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out what 3 to 5% is if you're only doing $50,000 in a month, right? So you really got to do some volume, and then you got to do it right before this ever hit. I mean, if you if you're not executing well, most restaurant owners find themselves, whether it's their fault or not, they find themselves in the red month after month. So you're digging, and like Janice said, digging in her pocket to even do a patio, right? You're kind of gambling, hoping that don't get thrown away, or that doesn't get, cut out of the plan. And that, that's a tough one to process for me.
Do either of you have any advice for somebody who would be thinking about opening a restaurant over the next year or 18 months, perhaps when things stabilize a bit?
Go back to college.
Don't. It's hard. I think it's hit me a little bit more personally too, because being the fourth generation, this year we were supposed to celebrate our 75th anniversary. And I wanted to do that for my mom and dad. They're getting older, and I wanted them to see, oh yeah, we were going to have a big celebration. We couldn't, and it broke my heart. Yeah, I want to continue the legacy, and I think that's what's hurting me most too. Is I feel like a failure, but because I want to continue all the hard work that my great grandfather did, my grandfather, my mom and dad. Then I said, well, you know what? It's really not my fault, but still, it makes me feel like I'm not doing what I should do, and that hurts me. And I haven't told my mom and dad how I feel, now, but it's just like I don't want them to be disappointed, in me.
Wayne, go ahead.
I said, Janice, it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of there's a lot of pride there in your operation that didn't start yesterday.
If you could say something or give some advice to the powers that be, the government who has, created this set of circumstances, in the response to COVID, is there anything you'd like to say?
To me, the restaurant, we have to go through all this training. We need our food handler's license and our food manager license. We get inspected, at the drop of the hat. I think most restaurants are very clean, and we're always sanitizing. My girls are always wiping, with the Clorox rags, or towels, and they're always. I go by and I check. Oh, you got to put a little bit of hot water in there, more Clorox. We're clean. I would say, you know what? Come and visit us. Come and see. Especially now, with the temperatures. The first thing everybody does is come in and they wash their hands, take their temperature, log it in, get to work, put their gloves on, wash their hands again, put their gloves, they're always washing hands. I would, come and see. That's what I would say.
Wayne?
I made a point not to, I think in my position, and I'm representing a family that I think the world of, and I know what their intent is, the Lescombes, and I know how much money they don't bring in to their own pockets. They haven't paid themselves since probably February. Um, I would just hope that you said, what were the powers that be? What would you tell them? I think some of the best people I've ever invested my time with are restaurant people. They are the realest, down to earth, hardworking people that I'm just proud to call myself a part of it. And we see all types. We see the poorest of families, employees that work for us. I have people on the staff right now with master's degree that come from very well-to-do families, and what's in common is they enjoy serving, they enjoy working as a team, they enjoy you celebrating your anniversary at our place, right? Now, they're not perfect. They make mistakes, maybe some questionable attitudes sometimes, right? I mean, things like that happen. But not only are we being, told how we can operate, when we can operate, and what is safe and what isn't. Um, while we're trying to do this, we're also getting trolled, right? We have trolls out there that are like nothing I've ever seen. We are used to having a complaint come through that says, "Hey, I didn't get my fries on this," or "This was overcooked." Well, my philosophy is if you didn't get exactly what you want and we didn't add a cherry on top, then I don't want you to pay for it. Like I'm okay with that. But when you're getting trolled on all your on your social media that you are killing people and that you're putting your employees at danger and that all we care about is profit, and it takes a thick skin to do that, and to go in there, and servers make 3, 4, 5 bucks an hour, right? And so when they're not getting to when guests are very hot, it's 105 degrees out and they're sitting out in the sun, how do you think that fares for tips?
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't enjoy yourself quite that much, right? Um, but I just wish that there was more of a conversation that could be had, um, and tell us what we could do different, or tell us what we could do so that we could at least be looked at like the other businesses are that do not have to provide contact tracing, right?
Yeah,
That you're able to walk into at any time, and they may space you 6 feet apart to get in. But I've been in aisles as late as yesterday at grocery stores where I'm reaching over people and there's four of the people around me. I just can't
right.
see how that's any healthier, or where I get my haircut, or I got a massage today. All those things involve people, all of them, right? But somehow we're not safe enough for you to come. At restaurants, you don't have to come eat with us, right? But if you wanted to, you have that choice to come out and eat with us. And I think that's just hard to figure out. You don't have to go out and eat if you don't want to, but why stop other people?
There's criticism in New Mexico that the restaurant industry really has been singled out. All the big box stores are open, but small businesses and restaurants seem to be really bearing the brunt of the absolute collapse in tourism, the collapse of dining, even by locals. It's just it's having a huge impact. Do you think we're going to? What is our new normal going to be, and when is it going to evolve? Do you have any thoughts on that?
A new normal. Well,
I hate that word, by the way.
I do too. I despise the term. It's a term that's used a lot in the cancer community, and they call it the new normal after you've been through treatment and your life is totally destroyed and your body's totally destroyed, and it's not normal.
That's a good point. I refuse to let that get in my mind. It just
yeah.
I've never been through a pandemic. I don't know like this. I don't know if y'all have or not. I can't see how you could have unless you're on a different planet. But there's going to be changes, no doubt. People are more afraid of each other now than I've ever seen. Right? We are at a whole nother level where this is all you can see of us, which takes
Yeah.
the personal side out. I can't see if you're smiling or mad or you're afraid to say hello to people. Um, there's
And
there's a
yeah, and
whole lot of things.
don't you think it's
Like,
so impersonal when you have a server come to you with a mask and gloves, and it gets you a little more scared than you are, or it's like, whoa, you don't feel welcomed.
not easy.
You're not easy.
Yeah, yeah. The support's not there. The support for employees that not only don't want to stay at home because they're ready to pull their hair out, but they're not asking for help. They're not asking for handouts. Like they want to work.
Mhm.
They want to do their jobs, and it's kind of it's a tricky one, right? It's but we're in it together. I can tell you that much. I'm a firm believer that I think that restaurants are safe. That's why I take my family. We go out to eat happily. We tip well. We take care of our. But we love being out and seeing people and waving to people I've never met before in my life and going, "Hey, we're over here." You know, that's what restaurants. that's how restaurants were founded, and I can't wait to get back to that and take care of our people the way.
Like you said earlier, Wayne, those that don't want to go, stay home, that don't trust
Absolutely.
restaurants or don't feel safe, but let other people, live their lives. I like to go out and socialize and, have a drink and talk and meet new people. I love working here at the Owl, where, we would get people from all over the country, from the world, in fact, and just talk to them, get to know them, learn a little bit about their country or where they're from, and share what, our cultures or what's happening here. But you can't anymore. And then especially with the patio, by the time I take the food or drinks out, you don't have time to socialize or what, because I have to run back in to make sure that everything's okay in the place. So it's hard. I can't wait till if we ever get back. No, we are going to get back. We're going to come back stronger.
Thank you for joining us today. I hope you found something in today's podcast that inspires you along your own life path, because sometimes a bump in the road is actually a portal into a more conscious and meaningful life. Bump in the Road is a production of Cancer Road Trip. Subscribe to the podcast, follow us on social media at Cancer Road Trip, and you can learn more at www.cancerroadtrip.com. Until next time, be safe and be well.